Underneath, my name appeared again, this time reduced to a category unauthorized occupant. I stood there longer than I should have. Long enough to notice the lake was calmer than usual. Long enough to register that the porch light I'd replaced last summer was still working. Long enough for my body to decide this was real before my mind caught up. I called my mother, because that's what I always did when something went wrong, not because she fixed things, but because she narrated them. She liked to explain why events unfolded the way they did, why they were inevitable, why resistance was immature. She laughed before I finished reading the notice out loud. "You wouldn't pay our debt," she said lightly, as if reminding me I'd forgotten to bring dessert. "Now you lose this too." I waited for something else, justification, anger, a story. But that was it. Louder, then a click as she hung up. I didn't rip the notice down. I didn't knock on the neighbor's door to ask if they'd seen who put it there. I folded the paper carefully, slid it into my bag, and locked the door I was apparently not authorized to stand in front of. The drive to the county courthouse took just under an hour. The radio stayed off. I noticed how many times I'd made that drive before: holidays, repairs, quiet weekends meant to reset me. I noticed how quickly familiarity can turn into something provisional. The clerk's office smelled faintly of toner and old carpet. I took a number, waited, watched a man argue about parking tickets, watched a woman cry quietly while holding a stack of envelopes. When my number was called, the clerk didn't look at me right away. She was already typing, already halfway into procedure. I slid the eviction notice under the glass. "I think this is a mistake," I said. Not apologetic, not defensive. Just factual. She typed in the case number printed at the top. Her fingers moved quickly, confidently, until they didn't. She stopped mid-keystroke, eyes narrowing slightly at the screen. She scrolled. Typed again. Stopped. The pause stretched. Not awkward, not dramatic. Focused. She leaned closer to the monitor, then glanced up at me for the first time. Her voice dropped, not out of secrecy, but care. "This has a restricted hold," she said. "I don't know what that means." She hesitated, then turned the screen slightly away from the window. "It means there's a flag. Suspected forged documents." The word forged didn't land all at once. It settled, piece by piece. She slid the notice back toward herself instead of returning it to me. That small action, removing it from circulation, felt heavier than any explanation. "You need to go back there," she said quietly. "Now? Am I in trouble?" She shook her head. "No, you're not." The drive back felt different. Not faster, not slower. Just directed. I wasn't rehearsing conversations anymore. I wasn't planning defenses. Something had shifted from personal to procedural, and for once, that worked in my favor. As I pulled into the driveway, a county vehicle was already parked near the curb. A man and a woman stood near the porch, not aggressive, not casual, official in the way people get when they're trained to be neutral. They turned when they saw me. "Are you the owner?" the woman asked. "Wes." She nodded, checking a tablet. "We're following up on a filing discrepancy." I unlocked the door. No one stopped me. Inside, the house looked exactly the way I'd left it. The chair by the window angled toward the lake. The stack of unread books on the table, proof of occupancy that didn't need to announce itself. They asked questions. Simple ones. When did I acquire the property? Had I signed any transfer agreements recently? Had I authorized anyone else to act on my behalf? "No," I said. Each time, no elaboration. They didn't ask about my family. They didn't ask why someone might want to remove me. Motive, I realized, was secondary to paperwork. An hour later, my phone rang again. My father this time. His voice carried a tightness I hadn't heard before. "There are people here," he said. "Asking questions." "Yes," I said. "What did you do?" "I didn't do anything." Silence. Then, softer, "This was supposed to be temporary. That's what you said last time." I replied. It wasn't an accusation. Just a reference point. The eviction notice never made it back onto the door. The case was frozen, flagged, rerouted into channels that move slowly but decisively. Forged signatures don't benefit from family explanations. In the days that followed, messages came in pieces. Apologies that sounded like negotiations. Anger framed as concern. Suggestions that I was overreacting, that this could have been handled privately. I didn't respond right away. Not out of punishment, but because I was learning to let silence belong to me. The house stayed quiet. The lake stayed calm. I stayed. There was no moment where everything felt resolved. No speech where I explained my boundaries perfectly. The relationship with my family didn't heal just because the record was corrected. Some fractures don't respond to truth, they respond only to time, or distance, or both. What changed was smaller and sturdier. I stopped feeling like my stability was conditional, like access to my own life could be revoked if I failed to comply. The institution didn't care about our history, it cared about facts, and for once, facts were enough. When I locked the door that night, it wasn't defiant. It was ordinary. The kind of action that doesn't ask permission. The notice never came back. And neither did the laughter.